Let's discuss how to sell in Europe as Shinon opened up a factory, a warehouse in Amsterdam. So this means that the opportunities are now limitless because you'll be able to sell not only just in the US, but also in Europe. So, what does this mean for you? First and foremost, you're going to have access to over 18 countries. That means an additional 256 million shoppers. Additionally, from that, this is the very first time that a reputable company like Shine On Print on Demand is opening a warehouse directly in Europe. Before, it used to take about a month for anyone in the UK or other countries in Europe to receive their shipment. Now they will be able to get their shipment within a week, 2 weeks max, depending on which country they are in. So let's talk about all the different European countries that Etsy sells to and the opportunities that are currently available to you. Now, as you can see, this is the full list of countries, which consists of Austria, Belgium, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark. The list goes on. So now, obviously, some of these countries have their specific language, like Czech Republic or Croatia, etc. In the column in the right-hand side, I've included all the different languages that you could potentially translate some of your best sellers. So UK English, just to give you heads up, for instance, things like mom, M-O-M, in the UK would be mum, M-U-M. So these are just little subtleties that the English language has in the UK that you could take advantage of. And you can simply Google what the permutations are. So this is the easiest way for you to get started, especially because the UK is actually one of the top countries right after the US of consumers that actively shop on Etsy. Now, you could also do listings in Spanish, French, German, Dutch, Romanian, Hungarian, Greek. The list goes on. Obviously, you would need to hire a translator from Fiverr to help you with the following. You could start with creating the translation on Google Translate, but Google Translate is not 100% accurate, which is why I recommend that you go on Fiverr and find someone to help you with the translation. And it wouldn't cost you a lot simply because you don't have a lot of phrases. From what I remember, usually something like that would cost you anywhere between $5 to $10. So keep that in consideration because this could be an edge for you. While other sellers will be busy competing for the same sort of English language, you could have opportunities to try German or French or Spanish. Those would be my top three simply because these are countries where people are used to selling or buying, online, and also they're more active on Etsy. The other ones you can definitely try, but you wouldn't get as many sellers, but still it's a good opportunity for you to have your best sellers essentially translated in all these different languages. And if you don't have a bestseller yet, I would take what is currently best selling from other shops. So go on Etsy, find what are different bestsellers for instance, the To My Wife niche, and then take that, translate it into Spanish, French, German, or even UK English. Super simple. This is something that you can do right after this presentation and guarantee you will start getting traction. Now, Shine On products available in Europe. Now, only message card products are currently available in the US. All of the engravings are not currently available, so make sure that you stick to message card products only. Next, shipping cost. Shipping costs are $6.95 per item, and if somebody happens to purchase 2 items from you, it would cost $8.95. Now, the following only really happens in Christmas, so simply what you will have to do is ensure that within your shipping, you give yourself enough of a margin. So, for instance, if an item is $49.95, I would sell it as high as $59 or even $57.95 to make sure that you included the shipping cost. And even though the shipping cost is less in the US, because you're probably going to upload a listing just once. I'm going to walk you through two methods of uploading listings, but essentially you want to ensure that you have your shipping margins. This way, it's not eating within your costs. So if you are a seller that's outside of Europe, so meaning that you're selling in the US, or so your Etsy shop is set up in the US, or perhaps you're in different countries, here's how you're going to set up your shop to sell in Europe. So we're going to add a shipping option inside your shipping profile, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do that. Etsy is also going to handle and calculate for you all the VAT, and customers are going to pay this. VAT are taxes in Europe that customers are charged anytime they purchase something. So these are just different regulations that we have in the US. In the US, we have sales taxes. In Europe, they have VAT, and their VAT range anywhere between 10 to as high as 21%, depending on the country. This is why, again, it's great to sell on Etsy, because Etsy will do all the calculations for you. Once you start getting sales, and I mean consistent sales, I also recommend that you register with the Dutch tax authority to get your own Dutch VAT ID, so then you can claim refunds of those costs. And so all you'll have to do is essentially show all the listings that sold in Europe in order for you to get reimbursed, and shows well that you are selling directly in the US. Now, I recommend that you go through this process once you start selling 50,000 K plus a year. Beyond that, so below that, not really worth your time, but just something to keep into consideration. Now, if you are a seller based in Europe, now you have two options, right? And one of them is to just simply set up your store in Europe now, specifically because Shine-On is selling specifically in Europe. I also recommend that you set up your store in Amsterdam. However, it really depends on what your country's VAT and taxing policies are. I'm not 100% familiar with all of them, but if they're complex, it's no big deal. You know, just stick to your country if you already are set up there. Because if you are going to say that your store is in Amsterdam, you will have to set up a Dutch tax ID. So again, once you start getting sales, Etsy is going to handle all the VAT information for you. You're also going to need to add your shipping options accordingly inside your shopping profile. And then Etsy is going to calculate all the VAT. And then again, you know, depending on where you set up your shop, personally, it probably makes more sense for you to set up your shop in Amsterdam. But if you have a country, if you're in a country like Germany, or perhaps you're in a country like Spain, and they have stricter rule when it comes to selling online and VATs, then stick to positioning your store in your country of origin in order to not have sort of tax headaches in the future. Especially because Etsy does a lot of the work when it comes to VAT and setting that up for you. So this link right here, shineon.lunavega.net/Dutch VAT, is the link in which you will find the form to set up your Dutch VAT number. So make sure to copy this link. When the time is right, go ahead and fill out this information to get your Dutch VAT ID number. All right, so now let's switch to my screen so I can show you how to add your shipping profile to your store. And we're going to talk about different options on how to do this. And this is really a personal preference. So let's go to my store. So let's go to my computer. So let's go to Etsy so I can walk you through exactly how to set this up. Okay, so inside your shop manager, you're going to go under settings, and then you're going to do shipping settings. And as you can see, I have default shipping already. And so the default shipping is where I have the shipping to the United States. Now, what I will need to do is add another location, which I already did, right? So let's say that I were to add another location. The location would be well, okay, so let's see. Let me delete this. So we're going to make the location everywhere else. The carrier is going to be other. It's going to be fixed priced, but what I'm going to do actually is delivery is going to be anywhere between 3 to 7 days. And then I'm going to do free shipping. Why? Because it's going to help me stand out from my competition if I have free shipping, especially because I'm already including now within the price the shipping cost. This is going to give you an edge in Europe. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing free shipping, you could just do fixed price and do $6.95. From my experience, customers in Europe are okay with paying shipping. It's really up to you. My recommendation is free shipping, but you can also have that other option. And now you're going to save profiles. So this is a way to do it, especially if you have a lot of listings, right? Another way to do it is to add a profile. And then you're going to do enter fixed rate manually. Country of origin, you're going to say Amsterdam, or actually it's the Netherlands in this case. So Netherlands, oops. Netherlands. Processing time is going to be 1 to 3 business days. Shipping carrier, other, and then I'm going to do free shipping. Delivery would be 3 to 7 days. So it's going to do Amsterdam. I'm going to take out United States, and then it's going to say everywhere else, and I'm going to do the same information. The reason I'm going to take out United States is I'm going to show you why in a second. So you're also going to do free shipping, and then we're going to do Europe shipping, and we're going to save this profile. And so essentially, as you can see, like here, there's like active listings. And so what can happen here is that once you have this set up, once you create a new listing, you could essentially have that listing only be available for people in Europe. So let me show you how to do this. Go under your listings, edit your listing, and then all the way at the end, as you can see, you can change where this listing, where it's shipped from. So in this case, this listing is specifically in French, so I could do Europe shipping. And so essentially this listing would be strictly sold in Europe from the factory in Amsterdam. So this is another way of doing it. My recommendation is, as you're starting out, have everything under default shipping, just because this way it's going to make your life much easier. Because essentially, once you have all your listings, then you can change the profile settings of your shipping setup after the fact. So this is something that can be done after, once you start getting traction and once you start getting sales. For now, I recommend that you stick to putting everything under default shipping, so then it's easier for you to manage, and then adding the European shipping option once you start getting traction. So let's say that you are a shop in Europe. Essentially, you would create a shipping profile that is specific to your European country, depending on how you want to do this. Like I mentioned earlier, you could set up your shop in the Netherlands, but you will need to have the taxing information accordingly. Or you could set it up to your country of origin. In this case, we're going to do Spain. Then processing time would be 1 to 3 days. You're going to do other, and then delivery time would be 3 to 7 days. You're going to do fixed price, in this case, I would recommend free shipping. And then you could do everywhere else, other, 3 to 5, free shipping. But then I would do another location if you're wanting to also sell in the US. So let's look at United States, and then it's going to be other. You're going to do 3 to 7 business day as well. you're going to do free shipping as well, because in the US, you absolutely need to do free shipping. So this is how you would set it up. You would have your country of origin. It's always going to show on Etsy. It's going to have everywhere else, and you're going to have United States. My recommendation is for you to do free shipping everywhere, especially the United States. You absolutely need to do it. But if you want to charge for shipping, you could do a fixed price. Just know that it's $6.95 for any countries in Europe. And don't worry, the majority of Etsy buyers are either in the Europe or in the US. Sometimes they are in Australia, but to be honest, like very rarely will someone purchase from Australia simply because they know that it takes about a month. So, something to keep into consideration, majority of your orders are either going to come from Europe or the United States. And that's it. All you have to do is save your profile accordingly. All right, so let's recap what are your immediate to-do to set up and sell in Europe. Now you want to decide how you want to set up your shop. You could either have two shipping profiles like we discussed. One shipping profile would be for the US and another one for Europe. You would just have to make sure that you include within the listing which shipping profile it pertains to. So this is one way of doing it. The recommended way that I think you should do it is just have one shipping profile, especially when you're starting out, because this is going to take out a level of complexity and you want to make your life simpler, especially as you're starting out trying to find winners. Once you start scaling and you start getting 10 to 20 sales a day, and a lot of them are either Europe or the US, then you can start breaking down the shipping profiles. So something to keep into consideration. You can also have the option of creating two Etsy stores, one in the US and the other one in Europe. I only recommend you do this once you start getting more sales and more traction, but this is definitely an option. Now, do not forget, there's plenty of opportunities, especially now, to simply translate best sellers that are currently best sellers on Etsy in French, Spanish, and German, because no one has done the following before. There's very few listings who have translation in these languages. So this is just money on the table for you to do that. All you have to do is hire a translator to help you and then watch the money come in. All right, congratulations guys for finishing this chapter. Super excited. This is going to be such a huge Christmas. I can't wait for your success. Bye.